Good evening, baseball fans, and welcome to another presentation of Trinity Baseball on the Tiger Network. We are here on a beautiful Friday night to watch the top-ranked Trinity Tigers host the Schreiner University Mountaineers. I'm Brian Yanselson, and I'm joined by Luke Terry. Luke, the Tigers have won 10 straight games going into this one. What will they need to do to keep that going tonight?
Well, Brian, we saw the Tigers last weekend in some SCAC action playing against in college. And although they were incredibly impressive in their Thursday night win to open the series, they were a little less impressive in the doubleheader on Friday. They seemed a little bit complacent, and although it always felt like they were going to win those games, it was a bit ambiguous at times. This weekend against Schreiner, they have an opponent that took number 14 Centenary down to the wire in 3 games in conference play this year. So this is an opponent that Trinity's really going to have to take seriously if they're going to want to sweep another series in conference action this weekend.
Yeah, I think this is going to be an absolutely great conference matchup in the SCAC. The Schreiner Mountaineers have lost 18 games. You see their record right on the screen, 8-18, but 8 of those losses have been by fewer than 3 runs, and 4 have been by just 1 run, including 3 against Centenary that you just mentioned. But before this one gets started, let's take a look at the lineup for the visiting Mountaineers. Leading off in center field, Aaron Riccio. Batting second baseman Chance Goins. Batting third baseman Josh Gilliam. Hitting cleanup, first baseman Reese Hohertz. Batting fifth in right field, Jeffrey Williams. Batting sixth, left fielder Devin Hooper. The designated hitter batting seventh, Isaiah Hernandez. At catcher, batting eighth, Gerardo Cardoza. And batting ninth, shortstop, Jet Muniz. And we'll take a look at the lineup for the home Tigers in just a second. Some new faces in the lineup today. Leading off, right fielder Rafe Chomet. At shortstop, batting second, Jack Baker tonight. Batting third, coming off a performance in which he hit a home run, MJ Metz. Hitting cleanup, the leading home run hitter in the conference, Brian Schaub. Batting fifth, catcher Tyler Pettit. Batting sixth, second baseman Jack Wisniewski. Batting seventh, center fielder Mason Meredith. Batting eighth, at first base, Jack Vonderhaar. And batting ninth, the designated hitter Michael Goodrich. So a potent lineup up and down, Luke. What are you expecting to see from this talented Tigers offense?
Yeah, absolutely, Brian. Potent is the perfect word to describe this lineup, and as you mentioned earlier, there's a little bit of movement. We see Jack Baker in the lineup tonight. MJ Metz moves up to the third spot after hitting that home run in Tuesday night's action. We see Wisniewski drop in the lineup a little bit, but none of these moves come for any particular reason beyond the fact that I think Coach Scannell is experimenting and trying out some different lineups in conference play to see what works best for the Tigers. I think we're just going to see guys come out and we're going to see guys compete and have good at-bats and put balls in play again tonight.
It'll definitely be interesting to see these two teams on the field. They didn't get to play at all last year due to the COVID-shortened season. And we'll be right back after the teams listen to the national anthem right here on the Tiger Network. And it is almost time for first pitch here in San Antonio. On the mound for the Tigers, first year Harrison Durow. Luke, tell us what you know about Harrison.
Well, like many pitchers that we've seen for the Tigers this year, Harrison is a first year, and he's a true freshman coming in, pitching on the mound. He leads this team in innings pitched. He leads the team in strikeouts, and he's really been or done a good job attacking hitters, being in the strike zone, and just being in command of all of his pitches. We've seen the breaking ball out of Durow so far this year has been very good, and I think he's going to look to continue a hot streak on the mound.
Looks like Durow has a couple more warm-up pitches tonight before we get started. Tigers coming in with a 17-1 record on the year, have won 10 consecutive games, find themselves atop the leaderboard across Division III. Meanwhile, Schreiner, 8-18, 2-7 in conference play. But as we mentioned at the top, they've lost 8 games by fewer than 3 runs, and 4 of those have just been by 1 run, including 3 one-run losses to conference undefeated team Centenary. So should be a good matchup here tonight. 2 more tomorrow. And the leadoff hitter, Aaron Riccio, is in the batter's box, ready to get started tonight. Durow set for his first pitch, and it is sky towards the foul line at first. And Jack Vonderhaar there for the out. So a first pitch out for Durow. That's the kind of start he's hoping for.
Yeah, exactly. And not really any surprise, in my opinion, to see these Schreiner hitters swinging at first pitches to open this game. This is a Tiger pitching staff that's going to attack the strike zone. And early on in counts, they're probably going to throw a lot of fastballs.
Durow's second pitch of the game in there for a called strike.
And again, we see another fastball that Durow starts or opens an at-bat with. And it's going to be important for Schreiner hitters to try to take advantage of that, because Durow and most of this pitching staff has been really good with their secondary stuff all year.
And there's some of that secondary stuff you're talking about as Durow loops in that breaking ball for a second strike. So an 0-2 count for Goins here at the plate. Chance Goins, the junior from Universal City, San Antonio area. That ball is outside.
And we see Pettit get pulled a little bit on that one, but that one's not a horrible miss. A competitive pitch there on 0-2 especially.
Now the 1-2 from Durow is hit out to left field. Schaub going back, and he stares at that one as that is gone for a home run. Chance Goins with the 1-2 count. Homers to left field to get the Mountaineers out on top first. And it looked like Durow knew that one was gone as soon as he hit it.
Yeah, and in my opinion, Durow should know that that one's gone as soon as it leaves his hand. This is a mistake of a pitch. In an 0-2 count, he leaves a fastball over the middle of the plate, and Goins at the plate, he doesn't think twice about this one. When you get a fastball down the heart of the plate in an 0-2 count, you're swinging every time. This is a position in which Durow really, more often than not, should be looking to throw a breaking ball, and it's a bit of surprise that we didn't see one there.
And we'll take a look at that replay in just a second as that first pitch is in for a ball in the dirt. You see right here the 1-2 pitch just crushed out to left field. Durow didn't even turn around to look at it. So a 1-0 lead for Schreiner. And now their leading hitter, Josh Gilliam, at the plate. Gilliam leads the team with a 426 batting average. 423 now. Has 41 hits. Had a spectacular year so far. And sees that one in the dirt. So Duro may be a little shaken after that home run.
Yeah, I'd say so. And I think more than anything, he's probably upset with himself. I've said that that's a position in which he needs to throw a breaking ball more than likely, and I think right now he understands that. But now, in the next at-bat, he needs to move on, put that last pitch behind him.
Unable to get past it on that at-bat as he walks Gilliam on 4 pitches. So a home run by Goins to get the Mountaineers out on top, and now a 4-pitch walk, and Tyler Pettit out to the mound to have a talk with Duro.
Yeah, Brian, and I got a chance to talk with Tyler recently. He's a transfer coming over from Incarnate Word, about a mile away, and I talked to him trying to see what it is that he wants to bring to the game with him coming from the Division I level to the Division III level. And he said that one of the biggest differences that he's seen in the pitching staff is just consistency, right? And the thing that he believes is that some of the guys on this staff understand they're at the D3 level and that some of the hitters that they go up against aren't going to be the caliber of hitter that Tyler's seen at the Division I level. But his goal is to convince these pitchers that despite the fact that some of these hitters aren't on par with the best in college baseball, that's no reason not to attack them, not to bring their stuff every day. So I think Tyler is the perfect presence behind home plate for especially a young pitcher like Duro.
Now we have the Mountaineers cleanup hitter Reese Hohertz at the plate. He grounds that one to first base. Vonderhaar, nice throw to second. Right back to him, and he is carried off the bag, says the first base umpire. Vonderhaar pointing to the first base bag, saying he was able to stay on. We'll take a look at it. A nice play getting off the bag, getting it to the shortstop Baker. Trying to tiptoe on the first base bag.
Yeah, and it looks to me from this angle that Vonderhaar secured the ball, and it looks like he got that left foot back down on the bag. But we see earlier in that replay, Baker at short, he caught the ball, but he didn't want to come off second base, even though I think he had a little bit more time than he realized on that one.
But for now, that is the second out of the inning, unable to turn the double play. And that brings up senior Jeffrey Williams. 2 consecutive breaking balls to start the at-bat. Find Williams down 0-2 quickly. So Duro turning to that breaking pitch early on after giving up the home run. And another one is in there for third strike. Williams swings through the curveball. And Duro gets the third out of the inning, but Schreiner strikes first with the long ball. As you see the strikeout here to end the inning, the Mountaineers will take a 1-0 lead into the bottom of the first, where the Tigers will try to respond. before the Tigers come to the plate, let's take a look at who's on the mound for the Schreiner Mountaineers. Garrett Whitley. Luke, how's Garrett done this year so far?
He's done a really good job for Schreiner so far this year. He's really been their anchor on the mound. He's appeared in 7 games, has 7 starts, 3-2 in those appearances, and he's thrown more innings by a pretty wide margin than anyone else in this Schreiner staff. He has 36.1 on the year, next closest being 24 and 2/3. He's done a pretty good job in terms of limiting base runners when it comes to walks, but he's given up 48 hits on the year. So if he can find a way to stonewall Trinity hitters, as Rafe Chamet is a little bit rude in his attempt to do so there, as he gets started on the day with a single to left field.
Yeah, so right away having to contend with the powerful Tigers offense. Rafe Chamet not wasting any time on that first pitch, driving it to left field for a base hit. Rafe is the leading hitter for the Tigers. That's his 30th hit on the year. And that brings up shortstop Jack Baker. Jack sees a called strike on the outside corner. Jack filling in for shortstop Michael Herrera, who we're used to seeing there at the shortstop position. And Baker flies that one to the right side, but that drops in for a foul ball.
Yeah, and Baker's got plenty of action under his belt in this early season so far. He's had 32 at-bats, come through with 11 hits, has a batting average of .344, slugging .500, and on-base percentage up over .460. So he's been very impressive in this young season so far, but he hasn't seen action since the Tigers series against St. Thomas 2 weeks ago. So it'll be interesting to see if that time off makes any impact on the young hitter.
And Baker, the first-year shortstop, hit a home run in his first career at-bat in college at Southwestern, so definitely a good way to make your impact felt right away at the collegiate level. Now in a big conference matchup. You can see on these first couple pitches to Baker, the catcher Cardoza, very aware that Rafe has 5 stolen bases on the year, preparing to throw down there. Baker fouls that 1-2 pitch.
Yeah, and a good job by Whitley in this at-bat so far. Got ahead with an 0-2 count, threw a pitch that was pretty substantially out of the zone, but comes right back, stays competitive right around the zone.
And the 1-2 to Baker is lined out to center field. That is caught out there, sending Rafe back to first base.
Yeah, and with as quickly as that one got sent back into the infield, seems like Baker got a hold on that one pretty well. Just hit it right at the center fielder. So a little bit of a tough break for the freshman.
But a couple line drives for the Tigers in their first 2 at-bats. So a good sign for them, and that brings up the third baseman, M.J. Metz, who powered a home run over the left field scoreboard in the Tigers' last game against Mary Hardin Baylor. You see Rafe's lead there at first base. One of 4 Tigers with 5 stolen bases on the year. Whitley keeping a close eye on him. And now a 2-0 count to M.J. Metz, as that one is high.
Yeah, and you mentioned, Brian, in our last game on that Tuesday night action, we saw Metz power a home run to left field. Metz stands in at 6'5", and when you're swinging a bat at 6'5", there's a lot of moving parts. So it's hard to put everything together. But when Metz has been able to do so, we've seen the result, and more often than not, it's really hard hit balls that typically always have a chance to get out of the park.
And now Metz awaits a 2-0 count, and he flies that out to right field. Should be an easy play there, and it is for the right fielder Williams. So 2 retired after the leadoff single by Chomet. Whitley doing a nice job so far of keeping Rafe at first base while still retiring the Tiger hitters. That'll bring up left fielder Brian Schaub. Schaub also flies that out towards right field. Williams under it again. And that is the 3rd out of the inning. So after a leadoff single by Rafe Chomet, Whitley able to retire the next 3. And Schreiner will take a 1-0 lead into the top of the 2nd inning here in San Antonio. We'll be right back after the break. After a clean first inning for the Mountaineers, in the bottom of the 1st, they are back to bat with a 1-0 lead. Harrison DeRose still on the mound for the Tigers, and Devin Hooper at the plate for Schreiner. Hooper sees that one go low and away. Has a 2-0 count to start the 2nd inning. And he sees another one outside the box.
Yeah, Brian, but despite the fact that DeRose fallen behind 3-0 to start the first at-bat of the top of the 2nd here, I think he did a good job kind of weathering the storm in the top of the 1st, right? We saw him give up that home run, and he came back after, we'll see, a 4-pitch walk to start the top of the 2nd. That was the same thing that he responded with after giving up that home run in the 1st inning. But after that 4-pitch walk, I think he did a good job settling in, kind of regathering himself, and he'll have to do the same here. But I think it's been impressive, the kind of just ability to stay calm and just have the presence of mind to understand how things are going out on the mound.
And Isaiah Hernandez grounds that one to 2nd, and the Tigers are able to turn the double play. Wisniewski turned it over to Baker, who then got it over to Vonderhaar. So the 4-pitch walk eliminated right there on the 1st pitch to the next hitter.
Yeah, and we see there why it's really easy for the first-year true freshman to have a little bit of peace of mind when he's out on the mound. This infield, no matter who's been out there defensively for the Tigers this year, has been really good playing behind pitchers. And that's a huge part of the Tigers' success so far this year.
That'll bring up the catcher, Cardoza, with 2 outs and nobody on, and he pops that one up to the right side. Vonderhaar over there to record the 3rd out. So what started as a promising inning for the Mountaineers turns into a 1-2-3 inning for DeRoe. Tigers look to get going offensively as they're down 1-0 early here to Schreiner. Tyler Pettit is ready to step into the plate as Garrett Whitley's back on the mound for the Mountaineers. He has a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the second inning, thanks to the home run from Chance Goins in the first.
Yeah, Brian, we talked about Tyler a little bit in that first inning from a defensive perspective, but he's also been incredibly impressive at the plate, hitting over 300 this year up to this point. And that's something somewhat of a luxury, especially coming from a catcher, a position where you're relying most heavily on defensive output, not overly concerned with what they're able to do at the plate. But when you get a guy that can do both, it's a huge plus for your ball club, and it's certainly a big one for this Tiger team.
And tonight we have Pettit batting fifth, so we've seen him down at the bottom of the lineup so far this year. But today moving up, we've seen a little bit of shuffling. MJ Metz hitting third after hitting sixth most of the past couple games, and Wisniewski hit third last game, now back in the sixth slot. So quite a luxury for Coach Tim Scannell to just move around wherever he wants, but he still has a 300 hitter in any slot.
Absolutely.
Now the 1-2 from Whitley to Pettit. Loops in a beautiful breaking ball for a called third strike. Pettit doesn't like it, but that was right there. And Whitley starts the inning with a strikeout.
Yeah, absolutely. A big bending breaking ball from Whitley to put away Pettit right there. We've seen in the past couple of games, Brian, some SCAC opponents attack this Tiger lineup with left-handed pitching and with some more guys that throw off-speed stuff rather than coming at you hard with fastball. And for the most part, I'd have to say that it's worked to some extent with or against these Tiger hitters so long as the defense behind these pitchers has been solid, even passable. I think the issues that we saw with Austin College were the fact that at times that defense looked like it was in shambles, dropping the ball every which way. Felt like there were more errors being made in that game than the final line score projected.
Whitley tries to loop in another breaking ball there, but that one's just high and away. So a 1-1 count for Wisniewski, who's hitting .406 on the year after going 3 for 5 on Tuesday night. And that's hitting .406 in 64 at-bats, so no small sample size.
Yeah, absolutely not. And Wisniewski's arguably my favorite player to watch on this Tiger lineup. He's a guy that defensively is an absolute utility, can play across the infield, pretty much any position you need him to, as he grounds this one to second base. And Mountaineers will record that second out of the inning. But Wisniewski plays any defensive position you need him to in the infield, and he's happy to play the game of baseball. He wants to be out there. He'll do anything you ask him to do. And at the plate, I love to watch him because you don't see many guys at any level that have the approach, have the willingness to use the entire field. And that's something that we've seen out of Wisniewski, and I think it's been a big factor as to why he's hitting over 400 on this year so far.
And after Wisniewski grounds out to second, Meredith on the first pitch grounds out to the shortstop. So a really quick 1-2-3 inning for Whitley. A great start for him as he keeps the Mountaineers on top 1-0, and they'll be back at the plate in the top of the third inning, and we will be right back with them. Welcome back to San Antonio. Schreiner Mountaineers getting ready to hit in the top of the third. They have a 1-0 lead over the top-ranked Trinity Tigers. Harrison DeRoe's first pitch of the inning, low for a ball to number 9 hitter Jet Muniz. Muniz grounds that one foul. Now the 1-1 from DeRoe. In there for a called strike.
Yeah, and as we talked about a bit in the open, Brian, DeRoe and for the most part, the majority of this Tiger pitching staff, their success has been correlated with their ability to throw those breaking balls for strikes. As we see, drop third strike there. Pettit will go ahead and throw down to Vonderhaar first. Bit of a wild play there, but they'll go ahead and get the out to record the first of the inning. But we saw DeRoe use that breaking ball, command his curveball right there to get a second strike, go way ahead in the count 1-2, and that forced the hitter at the plate to go after a pitch that typically he wouldn't in a 0-0 count or in a 2-0 count.
And now with the leadoff hitter Rocio at the plate, that's DeRoe's second strikeout of the night and his second on a curveball. So feeling comfortable with that pitch early on. And Rocio blasts that one towards left field. Similar spot to the home run earlier, but it looks like left fielder Schaub has that one. So a good swing on that pitch, but not enough to get out of there.
Yeah, it looks like he just got under this one. A little more barrel on that one. I think we see a second home run of the game.
And speaking of home runs, Chance Goins back at the plate. He got the Mountaineers' first run, only run of the day, with that home run to left field. It was a 1-2 pitch that he drove way out of here. Now a good breaking ball to get him swinging.
But that was really the only mistake of the day that we've seen DeRoe make. Other than that, a couple of 4-pitch walks, but even those types of at-bats keep his pitch count down, which will be important for the first year.
And Goins able to lay off that breaking ball, bringing the count back to 1-2. But DeRoe really trusting that curveball more than anything so far. Goins hit the fastball out, and now just low and away, evening up the count.
Yeah, but a really good competitive pitch there. Goins has seen a couple of curveballs in this at-bat. To see a fastball there, even though it's out of the zone.
And another breaking ball in there for a called third strike. So that pitch is working for DeRoe. Gives him his first 1-2-3 inning of the night. Mountaineers go down in order, and the Tigers will come to the plate trying to get on the board for the first time. We'll be right back. Garrett Whitley is back on the mound for the Mountaineers, looking to keep his early success going against Jack Vonderhaar, who lines that one to right center field, and that's in for a base hit. So Vonderhaar, swinging at the first pitch of the inning, gets a base hit after going 0 for 3 on Tuesday night against Mary Hardin Baylor. Must feel good to be back in the hit column.
Yeah, absolutely. And for a guy that is primarily a pull hitter, we've seen a bunch of defenses that have tried to adjust for that, tried to shift him. And he's had some unfortunate breaks, hit into the shift quite a bit, but pulls the ball in that at-bat, and there's no shift that's gonna beat him on that one.
And we'll see if that gets the Tigers' offense going. Whitley had retired 6 consecutive Tigers after the leadoff single by Rafe in the first.
Yeah, but of those 6 Tigers, we only saw 1 strikeout. So that means that Trinity's done a really good job putting the ball in play, something that I think they always do really well. And that's one reason that in last weekend's series against Austin College, we saw the Roos kick the ball a little bit defensively. Trinity just does an incredible job putting the pressure on the defense.
Whitley tries to get in a breaking ball on a 2-0 count, but that is nowhere close. So now a 3-0 count to the number 9 hitter, Michael Goodrich. Jack Vonderhaar on first base after the leadoff single. Tigers down 1 to Schreiner, looking to get on the board here. 3-0 pitches in there for a strike.
And Brian, we've talked a little bit about the movement in the lineup that we're seeing here today, but one name that we're seeing again in the 9-hole is Goodrich. It's really interesting.
And that pitch was close, but not close enough for the home plate umpire. So Michael Goodrich strolls on to first, and now the Tigers have runners on first and second. Nobody out. You see the breaking ball close, and Goodrich hesitated a little bit before going on to first, but he is there now.
Yeah, perhaps a tough break for Whitley on that one. I might side with him, say that one's in the zone, especially on a 3-0 count. It's a get-me-over pitch, but umpire didn't help him out on that one. But as I was saying previously, interesting to see Goodrich stay in the 9-hole in this lineup as we see Chamet square around a bunt. I'm sure that has something to do with the fact that Goodrich is tried, he's tested, and he's delivered. So having a real reliable hitter in that 9-hole, someone that can turn the lineup over with 0 outs to the top of the order, is a real luxury for this Tiger offense.
And Chamet squares around a bunt again. That one is fouled way back. So the count will be 1-1. Rafe got a base hit in his first at-bat on the very first pitch of the night from Whitley. But looks like he'll try to move the runners over with nobody out, and the heart of the Tigers' order coming up. Whitley keeping an eye on Vonderhaar at second. Rafe gets the bunt down. Whitley gets it to first base, but Rafe gets the job done as Goodrich and Vonderhaar move over to third and second. That'll bring up the first-year shortstop Jack Baker, who has an opportunity to tie the game or take the lead for the Tigers.
Yeah, good job by Chamet to get the ball down on that one. We saw him pop up the ball foul earlier in that at-bat, but not many places he could go with this bunt, as we saw the pitcher fall off the mound right in front to field it cleanly. See ball 1 to Baker there. Typically, Chamet's going to try and bring that ball down the line with him, but it looked like the first baseman was crashing, and you had your second baseman covering the bag. And with a lefty up there, he's going to fall off to the front or down that right field line as Baker lines this one into left field. Third base coach will go ahead and send the runner, and Tigers will have their first run of the game.
And the bunt working to perfection there from Rafe, putting 2 runners in scoring position. Jack Baker coming through with the big 2 RBI hit, putting the Tigers on top here in the bottom of the third. So a nice job by Baker. Coach is putting trust into him, not having played in the last couple of games, but coming through in a big spot. And now MJ Metz comes to the plate with the lead, and Baker takes second base. His 6th stolen base on the year, now enough for the team lead.
Yeah, that's really impressive for Baker, especially considering the fact that he's played significantly fewer games, only appearing in his 9th of the year in this one. So to have almost as many stolen bases as he does games played is a really impressive stat for the freshman.
Whitley's 1-0 to Metz is high and away. So after Whitley had retired 6 consecutive Tigers, not the start he was hoping for in the third. Gave up a base hit to Vonderhaar, walked Michael Goodrich, before having Rafe move the runners over on a bunt and Baker driving them in with the 2 RBI single. And you can see Baker distracting Whitley there even at second.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting here, Brian. Baker, as we mentioned, now tied for the team lead in stolen bases with 6. He also hasn't been caught stealing this year. So it'll be interesting to see if there's something up, if he could be considering potentially taking third base as well.
Baker takes his lead off of second. Whitley keeping an eye on him. Now delivering to Metz, who grounds out to the third baseman, keeps Baker at second, and records the out. Second of the inning. So Whitley able to limit the distraction there from Baker, keep him at second. And that'll bring up cleanup hitter Brian Schaub, who has a runner on second base, but now with 2 down.
Yeah, and we talked earlier about Metz getting his home run in our Tuesday night action, but Schaub, still the team leader with 6, has had a bit of a drought since that St. Thomas series in Houston, has not hit a home run.
And you mentioned that drought, but it looks like that one might be over, as that one is long gone to left field. Brian Schaub with his 7th home run of the year. That doubles the Tigers' lead to 4-1 here in the third. A no-doubter.
Yeah, and we talk sometimes about the announcer's jinx, but I don't know. We'll need to come up with a name for that one right there, as it looked like perhaps a slider, a breaking ball from the pitcher that Schaub was all over. Interesting to see him swinging early in an at-bat, a guy that now we see Pettit single through the left side, follow that home run. But back to Schaub, interesting to see a guy swinging on a breaking ball. Typically a guy that likes to work counts, likes to get ahead so that he can see the fastball and hit the fastball. But interesting to see there. We'll see the replay as Pettit grounds this one through the left side past the third baseman.
Now a visit to the mound as Whitley's given up 4 runs on 4 hits in this inning, including a 2-run home run to Brian Schaub. What do you think Whitley's hearing from the coach here?
Well, Brian, I think there's a bit of a plea, down 4-1 in this one. Try not to let it get away, but also try to stay competitive. His pitch count's still only at 37, having given up 4 runs here in the bottom of the third. They need him to go long to have a chance this weekend. They don't want to tap into their bullpen early in this series, especially given the fact that they were competitive in series against Centenary, took a game against Southwestern. In order for them to try and do the same thing here in San Antonio, they'll need a good outing from Whitley, even though that he's given up 4 runs so far.
He'll try to get out of the third inning here against Jack Wisniewski. Two outs in the inning, runner on first. Whitley's breaking ball misses inside, so another hitter's count for the Tigers. Whitley's 2-0 to Wisniewski is in there for a strike. Runner's going, and he is out at second base, so Cardoza behind the plate helping his pitcher out. We'll see the replay. Great throw to get Pettit going there at second. And Schreiner is able to get out of the inning, but not before the Tigers get on the board for 4 runs on 4 hits, including this big home run here by the leader in the SCAC in home runs, Brian Schaub, getting it out to the pool here at Trinity. Long gone, and now the Tigers have a 4-1 lead heading to the top of the 4th inning. We'll be right back. Welcome back to San Antonio, where freshman pitcher Harrison DeRose on the mound with a lead for the first time as the Tigers strike for 4 in the bottom of the third. Now Josh Gilliam at the plate for the Mountaineers, looking to get back on the board.
Yeah, Brian, as we get underway here in the top of the fourth, I want to return to what ended the bottom of the third. We saw Pettit make an attempt to steal second base, and we've talked about the fact that he's been really good behind the plate. He's been really good at the plate from a hitting perspective, but we really hadn't seen much out of him in terms of trying to take any bases this year. A little bit perplexing to see a catcher moving on the base pass, but I have to say that I like the move considering the fact that I'm not sure to that point we had seen Cardoza make an attempt to throw a runner out at second base, and even though he did throw out Pettit there, it took practically a perfect throw.
And that's a perfect breaking ball, another one from DeRoe, striking out Gilliam. That's DeRoe's 4th strikeout on the night. And that breaking ball really, really working for him, confusing the Mountaineer hitters and retiring their best hitter, Gilliam, bringing up Hohertz, their cleanup hitter now, with no one on. He swings through that first pitch. You see Hohertz, the senior from Belton, Texas. 28 runs batted in, good enough for 4th in the conference. But he swings through that one. So 2 good pitches to start off this at-bat. To the powerful Hohertz for DeRoe. We'll see if he goes back to the breaking ball. That's working so well for him tonight. His 0-2 is outside and swung on and missed. So 2 strikeouts to start the top of the 4th. DeRoe really settling in after giving up a run in the first. Now with 5 strikeouts on the night. Just that 1 hit, 2 walks.
Yeah, Brian, and in that last at-bat, I think we saw a couple of change-ups from DeRoe for the first time tonight. Again, just adding to the repertoire that he's had success with so far this season. If he can continue to control and throw that change-up in and around the zone, then we're going to see a really great season from DeRoe here and probably a great career as a Tiger.
Another great breaking ball just has the Mountaineers off balance. Williams swinging through that one. DeRoe now with the 1-1. That one's lined back foul. DeRoe has a 2-0 record on the year, also 2 saves, so someone Coach Scannell feels comfortable using in many different situations. Came into the day with 26 strikeouts in 21 innings pitched. He's added 5 more. DeRoe's 2-2 line by Williams towards the shortstop Baker, unable to get that one as it squirts through into left field. So Mountaineers get a runner on with 2 outs. We see a well-hit ball, but Baker unable to get it. So some life here with 2 outs for the Mountaineers. That'll bring up Devin Hooper. And that one in the dirt gets past Pettit. Williams advances to second. Something we saw after DeRoe gave up the home run in the first inning. Walked the next batter on 4 pitches. So here he had retired 7 Mountaineers in a row. But Williams able to get on with 2 outs and now a 2-0 count. We see DeRoe step off, trying to gather himself.
Yeah, Brian, but I think DeRoe in this at-bat has been a bit more competitive than he was in that at-bat that followed the home run.
There's another one in the dirt. Pettit blocks that one. So a 3-0 count to Hooper. Mountaineers trying to get back some of those runs they gave up in the bottom of the third. Hooper awaits the 3-0 from DeRoe. And that one is low once again, so a 4-pitch walk to Hooper.
Yeah, and in that at-bat that followed the home run, DeRoe seemed visibly frustrated, having given up a home run after being ahead in the count. I don't think that's what we're seeing out of him on the mound right now. Perhaps shaken, but in a different manner. I think he's a little bit tired, has gone 51 pitches so far on the day, but we'll see him settle back into the zone there and see how he can recover from another 4-pitch walk.
I think you make a great point about being tired, and it is hot once again here in South Texas in the 90s. So tough to be on the mound for a long time. Isaiah Hernandez at the plate for the Mountaineers, representing the tying run. He has a 1-1 count. He grounded into a double play in his first at-bat, swung on the first pitch. This at-bat looks at a breaking ball on the outside corner for a strike. So now a 1-2 count. DeRoe going to a couple breaking balls that he's most comfortable with. We'll see here on the 1-2 count. And there's another one, and that is in there for a strike. So a 6th strikeout for DeRoe. Ends up striking out the side and stranding 2 runners in the middle of that. But just another beautiful breaking ball that the Mountaineers cannot respond to. And so the Tigers maintain their 4-1 lead going into the bottom of the 4th. Welcome back to Trinity Baseball on the Tiger Network. Tigers up 4-1 over their SCAC rival, the Schreiner Mountaineers. Jack Wisniewski at the plate when Tyler Pettit was caught stealing to end the bottom of the third and now hit in the helmet on that breaking ball. You see Whitley trying to loop one in there as he has a couple times tonight, this time hitting Wisniewski right on the helmet. Luckily a breaking ball. But not the way Whitley wants to start the inning after giving up 4 runs in the bottom of the third. He'll have someone on right away. And now Mason Meredith steps into the box. Wisniewski going right away, and he is safe at second base. Another nice throw by Cardoza.
Yeah, and a real close play there. But as we talked about to open that last half inning, we saw Pettit moving as it looks like Wisniewski just got in there to beat that one out. We saw Pettit moving to in the bottom of the third, and it came as a bit of a surprise, but we saw Cardoza have to make a perfect throw to get him out, and I think that's going to encourage the rest of these Tiger runners when they're on the base paths.
Now Meredith squares around a bunt, but that one's too high. That's Wisniewski's second stolen base on the year. We saw Jack Baker take his sixth bag, but the Tigers must be seeing something in Whitley and Cardoza. Meredith squares around a bunt, gets that one down perfectly down the third base line. Going to be a close play, and he throws it away. Meredith gets down the line quickly, forces a bad throw, and he is getting all the way to third, where he leaps in the air and is called out. So trying to take an extra back there is Meredith. A perfect bunt down the third base line. Thrown away. First baseman Hohertz can't get it. Run comes in to score. Meredith trying to get to third. So lots of action on that play. But at the end of it, Tigers add a run. They're up 5-1 now in the bottom of the fourth. There's one down, no one on for Jack Vonderhaar, who got the last rally started for the Tigers with his base hit to right field.
And after we saw Schaub homer earlier in this one, Vonderhaar will likely be taking it upon himself to try and close the gap. But he'll send this one out to shortstop, and he'll be retired for the second out of the inning here.
Really trying to will that one into existence, Luke.
Oh, absolutely.
It worked for Schaub, so it might as well keep trying.
Yeah, that one might have been the announcer's jinx, though, so we'll see.
After Vonderhaar's retired, Michael Goodrich, the number 9 hitter, up at the plate. He drew a walk in his first at-bat. Came around to score as well. Swings through the first pitch there. Oh, 1 pitch. Flied out to left center field. And recorded for the third out of the inning. But a run does come across to score for the Tigers. We'll see the replay here. Goodrich with a fly ball to center field. But we've seen a couple lift out of here, so you never know. But the Tigers keep their 5-1 lead. And Duro will be back on the mound in the top of the fifth. We'll be right back after the break. After the Tigers add a run in the fourth, Duro back on the mound with a 5-1 lead. facing Gerardo Cardoza, the catcher, who's been busy behind the plate. Already thrown out one runner trying to steal, allowed two others to reach safely, and he lines out one right back at Duro, but he's able to collect it and throws it off Cardoza running down the first base line. But we see this one lined, hitting Duro, but somehow able to react, get off the mound, and it looks like the umpire is saying Cardoza was too far off the first base line and is called out. Head coach Ryan Brisbane out for the Mountaineers to argue.
You can see him bow a little bit inside the line there. Makes that path for Duro to throw that ball to first base a little more difficult.
And it hit Cardoza on the left arm. So you see the first base umpire calling him safe, but Pettit, the Tigers catcher, pointing it out immediately to the home plate umpire.
It appeared the Schreiner coaching staff made their way out to discuss that one with the crew. So we'll see what the ultimate decision was here.
And it looks like a pitching change now for the Tigers as Duro exits after being hit by a line drive right back at him. We'll be right back after this pitching change on the Tiger Network. So after a strange play to start the fifth inning, we have a pitching change for the Tigers. Senior Carter Frank on the mound. But that comes in after a good performance by Harrison Duro. Luke, what did you like from Harrison tonight?
Yeah, and before we talk about Carter right here, you do mention the fact that it was a very impressive performance by Harrison, and I think the biggest reason for that was the fact that he made mistakes, but nothing compounded for him, right? That home run, we saw him come back after that with a 4-pitch walk. I'd say those are two separate events, given the fact that I'd say that those are two separate events, unrelated, given the fact that that home run left the yard and things started over for him, right? We saw that 4-pitch walk that followed, but after that, he was sharp. We saw another 4-pitch walk the next inning. After that, he was sharp. In the last inning, we saw him tire a little bit, more than anything due to the hot weather in San Antonio right now. But after that, he responded. He got outs when he needed them. And I think that's really impressive to see from such a young pitcher on the mound. But now we'll have pretty much the exact opposite in Carter Frank.
Yeah, and tough to see Duro exit on a line drive hit right back at him. Hope he's all right after such a good performance to start the weekend series against Schreiner.
Yeah.
We'll try to figure out here if that runner was indeed called out at first. Believe he was, but there was some discussion as the pitching change was going on. So Carter Frank will face Jet Muniz with no one on and one out. Jet, a San Antonio native from John Jay High School. Schreiner, located in Kerrville, not too far from San Antonio. And that first pitch from Frank swung on and missed. And that one in the dirt. Gets past Pettit. And that one up high. Muniz still swinging at it, though, able to foul it back. Frank came in last weekend against Austin College. Got his first save of the season. Pitched 2 scoreless innings while striking out 3. Looks to start on a good note here against the number 9 hitter. Has a 2-2 count. And Muniz grounds that to third, but the umpire signals a foul ball.
See a replay of that right here. Looked like this one was right down the line. Perhaps just foul right there. Looked like it might have been outside of the bag ultimately.
Now Muniz sends that 2-2 pitch into the outfield, but the center fielder Mason Meredith is under it for the second out of the inning. That'll turn the lineup over for the Mountaineers. Leadoff hitter Aaron Rocio. He has 2 outs and nobody on. He swings through that one, just barely fouling it off. And as we have a 5-1 score here at the baseball field, the Trinity Tigers men's soccer team pulls off a victory by the same score, 5-1 over Colorado College. A big matchup in the SCAC. Tigers pulling it out. So a very unique spring we've had. Not normally seeing a baseball and a soccer game happening at the same time, but success all around for the Tigers this year. Frank here with the 1-2. And Rocio swings at that one, sending it to center field once again. Meredith underneath it for the third out. So some interesting plays going on in the 5th, but after all of that, a 1-2-3 inning between DeRoe and Frank. The Tigers stay on top 5-1 as we're halfway home here in San Antonio. Tigers coming to bat in the 5th. Welcome back to San Antonio. We're here on a beautiful Friday night. Nothing better than some baseball in April. Action getting going around the Major League and well into conference play here in the SCAC. Rafe Chomet, leadoff hitter, fouls that one back. But we've got a good conference matchup here between the Schreiner Mountaineers and the Trinity Tigers. Tigers up 5-1 here in the bottom of the fifth. Chomet sees that one outside. And Rafe grounds that one to the second baseman, who's able to get that onto first quickly for the out. Goins had to hurry that one with the speedy Rafe running down the line. But Whitley able to record the first out of the inning as he looks to settle things down after giving up 4 runs in the third, 1 run in the fourth. And the first 2 of those runs provided by the man stepping into the batter's box. Freshman Jack Baker lined a 2 RBI single to left field to put the Tigers up 2-1.
Yeah, Brian, but Whitley did a good job in that first at-bat of this inning. Start with an out, attack the outside part of the plate, got Chomet out in front, had him roll over on a pitch that typically Rafe would want to go the other way with.
And Baker sending that one to the same spot as his last hit, to the left fielder Hooper. So 2 hits for Baker, who hasn't played since March 27th, stepping in for Michael Herrera and not skipping a beat.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Brian. Great job from Baker stepping into his role here today. We saw him moving on the bases last time he reached.
And Whitley, cognizant of that, trying to keep him close over there at first. You mentioned last time Baker, in just his 9th game on the year, already has 6 stolen bases, leads the Tigers in that department.
It's always an interesting conversation that has to be had. Do you send a guy when you have as many dangerous hitters in this lineup as the Tigers do? Last time we saw Baker take second base, and we wondered if he'd potentially take third. But with a guy like Metz up there, especially one that's swinging a hot bat, homered in that Tuesday night game, a bit of a risk if you want to put another out on the board when you have a guy that's been very reliable up at the plate.
But even that threat of going, you see distracting Whitley as he gets that first pitch to Metz in for a strike. But you have such a hot hitter in Metz, somebody who can drive it out of the ballpark, as we saw in Tuesday night's game against Mary Hardin Baylor, and it's tough for Whitley to not be able to focus on that tough hitter. Instead, another pickoff throw to first. So Baker, even if he doesn't go here, doing his job in distracting Whitley.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right, and I think what you say kind of brings up a good point. As we see Metz drive that one down the line, that one will get all the way up against the wall in the corner. Baker rounding third, but he'll be held up there as Metz has another hit, a double, to move the runner over to third. But as you were saying, I think it does kind of force the discussion that with as many good hitters in this Trinity lineup, paired with the fact that movement on the base paths is a necessity pretty much at any level, someone is going to have to probably be hurt a little bit by the fact that someone ahead of them is going to be moving when they're on the bags.
And now after that double by Metz down the line, runners on second and third. for cleanup hitter Brian Schaub, who sent a mammoth shot over the left field fence in his last at-bat. Has an open base here. We'll see if Whitley decides to pitch around Schaub, but that one's in there for a strike. One to Schaub here. In the dirt, Cardoza gathers it quickly, prevents Baker from coming in to score. And Whitley walking a tightrope here with the Tigers cleanup hitter. Already down 4, has 2 more out there, trying to do all he can to keep the Mountaineers in the game. And he asks his catcher Cardoza to come out to meet him. A big moment for him if he wants to keep his team in the game.
Yeah, but a quick meeting, and after seeing that last one kind of glance off Cardoza, perhaps these two are trying to get hooked back up on signs. Looks like that last pitch, they might have been mixed up a little bit. So, as you mentioned, this is obviously a huge bat, so making sure that they're on the same page is going to be really important right here.
Now we'll see if Whitley has his 2-1 ready, and he does. And that one's in the dirt, blocked again by Cardoza. So a 3-1 count.
But not a bad approach right here from Whitley. Facing a guy that's already jumped the yard on you once tonight, a guy that the last game we saw him hit a home run, we saw him hit 2, and when you have that type of bat at the plate and an open bag at first, you don't really want to mess around, but we see
that 3-1 pitch carries all the way back to the wall, and it hit off the wall, just missing that second home run of the game. But Brian Schaub does drive in 2 more runs. That's 4 runs batted in for the Tigers cleanup hitter. And we'll see the replay here, going down to get that 3-1 pitch. Not a bad pitch for 3-1. But Schaub, with his power, able to lift it.
Yeah, and from that shot, you can see that those flags are standstill. So Schaub going down to one knee to get this pitch, drives it almost all the way out over the center field wall, 400 feet, without any help from the wind. That's just incredibly impressive.
Now catcher Tyler Pettit at the plate, and you got the sense that Whitley was trying to pitch around Schaub, throwing nothing but off-speed pitches, but even on that 3-1 pitch that might have been out of the zone, in fact, Schaub still able to go down and get it, send it all the way to the right center field wall. And Pettit waits on a breaking pitch as well, sends it to right field, but that one is playable. Schaub tagging up, and a nice throw, but he is in there safely. Williams with the putout and a nice throw, but Schaub able to move on over.
Yeah, nice piece of hitting. Really 2 at-bats in a row, right? Even if that previous one by Schaub had been caught, he had done his job putting one deep enough in the outfield in order for a runner to at least score tagging from third. And here, Pettit does a good job sending this one to the opposite field, again, in the right direction and deep enough to make sure Schaub can tag and get to third.
And just like that, the Tigers are up 8-1. Feels like just a little bit ago, Schreiner had a 1-0 lead. But as is often the case with the Tigers offense, you blink and they put up 8 runs on you. And Wisniewski turns that ball around into right center field. Stays at first base for the single, but another base hit for the Tigers. That's 9 on the day. And Whitley showing some frustration as soon as Wisniewski got contact on that ball.
Yeah, we saw quite a bit of soft contact early on in this game. Whitley really pitching to what I imagine is one of his strengths as a lefty who doesn't throw a whole lot of fastballs. But as this game has gone on, Trinity hitters have really seemed to settle in, and they've started to put the barrel on the baseball and hit some balls really, really hard in this one.
That first pitch to Mason Meredith, low and away. Meredith, the only Tiger in the lineup. Him and Goodrich, the only Tigers in the lineup without a base hit. Whitley with the 1-1 pitch, just high. Trying to get out of this inning. Already 3 runs across for the Tigers. Meredith fouls back that 2-1 pitch. These two teams will be right back at it tomorrow for a doubleheader scheduled for 1 and 4 p.m. So Whitley, despite giving up 8 runs already, still on the mound as the Mountaineers cannot afford to go too deep into their bullpen on Game 1 of the 3-game series. And Meredith bounces that one off the third baseman's glove. And Meredith will reach safely. Gilliam unable to get there. And then the shortstop Muniz, too tough of a throw to make.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about this Tiger lineup and how many hitters they have over 300 right now. Mason Meredith, one of the only Tigers sitting under 200. And at this point, he'll take a base knock any way he can get it. He's put a ton of great swings on the baseball so far this year. Just hasn't had the barrel find the ball squarely so far.
Now Jack Vonderhaar at the plate. The number 8 hitter tonight in the Tigers lineup, but don't let that fool you. He has 30 runs batted in on the year. Second in the SCAC, leads the team. Also good enough for 8th in the nation. So a guy that's comfortable hitting with runners on. He has 2 of them here. Wisniewski at first. Meredith. Wisniewski at second, Meredith at first. Whitley's 1-0 to Vonderhaar. In there for a strike. And that was in there for a strike, but I would assume Whitley will try to avoid throwing that same pitch because I have a feeling Vonderhaar will have a very different result if he gets that same pitch.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And that one's called for a strike.
That's exactly where Whitley wants to live, right there on the outer half of the plate. Vonderhaar, someone who's already pulled the ball in this one, that's really his approach every time he steps up to the plate. So feeding him pitches away, trying to get him out in front, as he was a bit on that one, able to get just enough of it to stay alive. But that's really the best approach that I think we've seen from opposing pitchers when facing Vonderhaar this year.
And that breaking ball was where Whitley wants it, especially with 2 strikes. Able to get that lower in the zone, almost drawing a 3rd strike swinging. But Vonderhaar gets the 1-2 count once again and sees that one outside. So a 2-2 count for Vonderhaar. Has 2 men on base and 2 down in the bottom of the 5th. Already 3 runs on the board in this inning for the Tigers. Vonderhaar looking to add even more. Whitley's 2-2 pitch to Vonderhaar, driven right back to the second baseman, who's able to get it to Muniz for the 3rd out of the inning. So, just the 3 runs for the Tigers in the bottom of the 5th, but they extend their lead thanks in large part to this 2 RBI double from Brian Schaub, his 3rd and 4th runs batted in on the day. Off the right center field wall here at Trinity. And the Tigers take an 8-1 lead into the top of the 6th inning. We'll be right back on the Tiger Network. You see the Tigers' upcoming schedule. We mentioned 2 more here tomorrow against Schreiner for the Tigers before heading off on the road to Concordia and Dallas. So the last we'll see of the Tigers here in San Antonio for about 2 weeks, but we'll be right back tomorrow on the Tiger Network. Now Chance Goins at the plate, the man responsible for the Mountaineers' 1 run of the game. He homered back in the 1st inning to get the Mountaineers out on top. But that's all the offense they've had today, just 1 hit since then. Carter Frank on the mound for the Tigers. He came in for freshman Harrison DeRoe. Goins fouls that 2-1 pitch back. Here's a look at Goins' home run in the 1st inning. DeRoe knowing right off the bat that it was gone. Frank now with the 2-2. Another foul ball.
Yeah, Brian, but as we've mentioned so far in this one, DeRoe responded really well. Frank has been sharp out of the bullpen so far. Overall, a really great performance by this Tiger pitching staff, aside from, frankly, that 1 pitch.
That 2-2 pitch fouled off once again. And yeah, promising start for the Mountaineers, getting on the board first with that home run. Starter Garrett Whitley throwing 2 scoreless innings going into the 3rd. And Carter Frank gets that one up and in, Goins swings over that one. And he sighing in disbelief as he swung at that one out of the zone. That'll bring Josh Gilliam to the plate for the Mountaineers. Gilliam from Smithson Valley High School sees that one in for a ball. Gilliam 0 for 1 on the day. Sees that ball outside, drawing a 2-0 count. And he swings through that one up and in as well. So Frank getting 2 Mountaineer batters to swing at balls outside the zone. Now Frank's 2-1 in there for a strike, evening up the count at 2-2. Gilliam fouls that 2-2 pitch back, staying alive in this at-bat. Gilliam is Schreiner's leading hitter, hitting over 400, 41 hits on the year. Fouls another one back out of play. Gilliam not only leading Schreiner, but second in the conference in hitting. And having a good at-bat here, fouling several pitches back, and now seeing that one outside, bringing the count full to 3-2, making Frank work here in the top of the sixth. And another foul ball. So if nothing else, Gilliam making Frank work. And with 2 games scheduled tomorrow, every pitch counts for these pitchers, and it'll be one less that they can maybe throw tomorrow. So even in an 8-1 ball game, a good at-bat here from Gilliam. He gets the 3-2 from Frank, and that one's in the dirt. So Gilliam draws the walk.
Yeah, Brian, as you mentioned, really great at-bat there from Gilliam. Really made Carter Frank work. Looking back earlier in that sequence, third pitch of a really long at-bat, Gilliam swung at a pitch that was high and well out of the zone, kind of letting Carter Frank back into that one, but a great job to continue to compete, not let that be the end of things, and to ultimately draw the walk. Still with only 1 out here in the top of the sixth.
And we'll see if the cleanup hitter, Reese Hohertz, can bring Gilliam around to score, get the Mountaineers back in this one. Hohertz with 4 home runs on the year, tied for the team lead with Jeffrey Williams, who's on deck.
Yeah, and in Hohertz's last at-bat, we saw DeRoe throw a multitude of change-ups at the left-handed hitter.
And that 2-0 breaking ball in there for a strike. Likely not what Hohertz was looking for on that 2-0 count. Frank keeping an eye on Gilliam at first, and gets another breaking ball in there. Frank loses his glove, but still able to collect the ball for the out at first. So yet another interesting play at the mound. We saw DeRoe leave the game after a line drive hit him on the mound. Now Frank losing his glove on a ball hit back to him.
Yeah, and hard to speculate about that play in which DeRoe was hit on that line drive back towards him on the mound. But more than anything, it seemed like he had been tiring. The previous inning, went back out there for another inning of work. Wanted to make sure that there wasn't any underlying issue and went ahead and pulled him from the game. But in both scenarios, with balls hit back at the pitcher, kind of unusual circumstances, the Tiger staff have handled themselves very well fielding the baseball, even when it is hit off of them.
Yeah, and Frank did a good job there to get the ball even without a glove. Says, who needs a glove in baseball anyway? Now has a 1-1 count against Jeffrey Williams. Swings at that one, says the home plate umpire. Williams wanting to check with the umpire down at first. We get a perfect angle here. And Williams clearly went around. Good call by the home plate umpire. Making the count 1-2. Williams trying to drive in Gilliam from second. Frank trying to get out of the inning unscathed. And Williams flies that one out to right field. Rafe Chomet underneath it. And he gets it for the third out of the inning. So that runner stranded on second base for the Mountaineers. Tigers keep their lead at 8-1, headed to the bottom of the sixth. Going into the bottom of the 6th inning, the Mountaineers have made their first pitching change of the night. We have Daniel Garza on the mound, replacing Garrett Whitley. Garza's first pitch to Michael Goodrich in there for a strike. Garza, through 5 innings, allowed 10 hits, 8 runs, 7 of which were earned. Just 1 walk, but those 10 hits doing the damage. And Goodrich flies that one to center field. Recio going back and makes the catch. A wonderful catch out there in center field by Recio. That one just kept going, similar to the Brian Schaub double.
Yeah, we see Goodrich go down and get this one a little bit, but with that, looks like he got just under it. That one kept this ball in the park right in front of that 400 mark in center field.
Yeah, Recio going back to the deepest part of the ballpark to get that one. So a great play to start this bottom half of the 6th inning for Garza and the Mountaineers. That brings up leadoff hitter Rafe Chomet to the plate. Chomet 1 for 2 on the day. Lines that one into right field for a base hit, his second of the day.
Yeah, and as we see from a ton of lefty hitters, on that stride step, Chomet opens up just a little bit, but this pitch on the inner half means that was the perfect approach right there. To open up a little early, allowed him to get his hands through, put barrel on baseball, and pulled that one really hard through the right side of the infield.
Now Jack Baker at the plate. He's having quite the night. 2 for 3 with 2 runs batted in. He got the Tigers scoring going way back in the 3rd. Drove 2 men in with a single to left. Then singled once again to left field in his last at-bat. Now checks his swing at that one, but goes around, says the home plate umpire. So a 1-1 count with Rafe Chomet at first. And Baker did in fact go. Lucky to have that perfect replay angle down the line. And that big breaking ball in there for a strike. So a 1-2 count for Baker.
And these are counts that allow allow pitchers to throw their secondary stuff, force hitters to hit breaking balls, hit off-speed pitches. Be interesting to see how the freshman at the plate handles those types of pitches in this at-bat as he's fallen behind 1-2 here.
And the 1-2 pitch is in there for a called 3rd strike. Baker can't believe it, but the home plate umpire rings him up.
Yeah, really great pitch from Garza there. Saw him drop a breaking ball in at the top of the zone and another one there at the bottom of the zone, and I think that's what had Baker frozen on that last pitch of the at-bat. Typically, you're not going to see a guy dropping in pitches at both the top and bottom of the zone.
Garza going right back to that breaking ball that he's gotten now a couple called strikes on, and that one's in there for another strike. 0-1 to MJ Metz. And that one swung on and missed by Metz. So an 0-2 count for the 3rd baseman.
And now for Garza, after getting up 0-2 in this count, no reason to go away from that breaking ball, but needs to be cautious with a great hitter up at the plate.
And that one gets away from the catcher Cardoza, bounces off the brick and ends up in Garza's hands. But Rafe able to get to second base on the wild pitch. So another runner in scoring position for the Tigers. They've scored in 3 straight innings, 4 in the third, 1 in the fourth, and 3 in the fifth. Mets looks to keep that going here in the sixth. But Garza looking to limit that. And he'll step off, make sure to get the right pitch in here. Garza now ready for the 1-2 pitch. And Metz tries to wait back on that one, but he pops it up to second base. And that's the third out of the inning as Goins gets that one easily. So the Tigers kept off the scoreboard for the first time since the second inning. They still have an 8-1 lead over Schreiner as we head to the top of the 7th inning here in San Antonio. Welcome back to the Tiger Network. Schreiner up to bat in the top of the 7th inning. They look to get something going. Down 8-1 to the top-ranked Trinity Tigers. Devin Hooper looks to get that going. As he sees that one from Carter Frank outside. Tigers have won 10 straight games coming into this one. As that one from Frank is outside. Those 10 straight wins helping the Tigers get a 17-1 record. Good enough for the top spot in Division III nationwide. That's a called strike. 2-1 count. Tigers just ahead of Washington University in St. Louis, who are right there in the number 2 slot. Frank's 3-1 pitch is driven into the left center field gap, and that is down for a base hit. Hooper able to get on to start the inning, dropping that one just in front of center fielder Mason Meredith.
Yeah, and from that angle, this one appeared to be a lot better hit off the bat, but perhaps a little bit off the end there. Was able to drop just in front of Meredith in center field.
That pitch to Isaiah Hernandez is up for a ball. And that one in the dirt, blocked by Pettit.
Really good job right there by Pettit, making sure that he keeps the runner at bay at first base, especially here with no outs.
Now a visit to the mound to talk with Carter Frank. As they do that, we mentioned Washington University in the second seed. They won 2 games today against Westminster, 11-3 and 10-4. So they're now 16-0 on the year, keeping that pressure on the Tigers, who hold the number 1 spot as of now. Frank readies his 2-0 pitch to Hernandez. That one's in there for a strike. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the SCAC, Southwestern is up on Centenary, 8-6 in the top of the 7th. Centenary undefeated in conference play, so that would be an upset right there. Hernandez awaiting the 2-2 pitch from Frank. And that one just high for a ball, taking this count full to 3-2.
I'm sure Jack Baker standing out at shortstop wondering why that same pitch was called a strike to him in the last half of the 6th inning.
Hernandez trying to help the Mountaineers mount a rally here. Top of the 7th inning, they're down 7. But you can't start a rally without base runners, and the Mountaineers have 2 of those now as Hernandez draws the walk. So now runners on first and second. Nobody out. A single by Hooper and a walk by Hernandez to start the inning. That brings up the catcher Gerardo Cardoza.
Yeah, Brian. 2 runners on right here, top of the 7th. No outs, but this is a situation that we've seen for the Tigers many times. It's felt like this year, and more often than not, this defense playing behind Frank right now has been able to come away with timely double plays, and with a catcher standing at the plate right now, no better time for some good defense for this Trinity lineup.
Frank starts this at bat with a called strike, looking to keep the Mountaineers right where they're at. The 0-1 from Frank is in the dirt. Pettit with a nice block, keeping the runners there. Frank taking a stroll around the mound, trying not to let this get out of hand. He has a 1-1 count to the catcher Cardoza. Frank checks on the runner at first, but nothing doing.
Yeah, and certainly growing a little bit frustrated on the mound after that last pitch. Came off, shook his hand a little bit, understanding that he's struggling with his grip on the baseball right now, overthrowing the ball a little bit. Perhaps it's stuck a little too deep in his hand.
And that 1-1 pitch is flied out to center field. Mason Meredith able to get that one and keep the runners right where they're at. So a big out for Carter Frank.
Yeah, and much better job by Frank there. As I was saying, seemed a little bit frustrated coming off the mound, shaking his hand a little bit, understanding that his grip was off. Did a good job, got a grip on that one, fed a fastball right down the middle of the plate, and induced a fly ball to get the first out here in the top of the 7th, still with a double play ball in order.
Frank throws that one to Jet Muniz, who looks to bring in a run but swings over that one. Muniz, the number 9 hitter, trying to turn the lineup over with some momentum. Has 2 runners on still. Frank looks at the runner at second and throws that one high and in. Pettit puts down the sign for Frank, and he delivers the 1-1 way up. So Muniz now with a 2-1 count. Frank, another trip behind the mound. Now prepares the 2-1 pitch. Another one in the same spot. Pettit telling him to calm it down a little bit, bring it down in the zone. But now it's a 3-1 count for the number 9 hitter. Certainly don't want to walk him to load the bases and bring the top of the Mountaineers lineup. So Frank's 3-1 will do just that. 4 straight, way up, not near the zone. And the number 9 hitter draws a walk. That draws another visit to the mound, and this one will result in a pitching change. So Carter Frank loads the bases here, and Schreiner looks to do some damage. We'll be right back to see the Tigers pitching change. The Tigers' new pitcher on the mound, Samuel Conti, brought into a tough spot here with the bases loaded and just 1 out. Mountaineers leadoff hitter Aaron Rocio looking to pull the Mountaineers back into this game. That first pitch from Conti inside for a ball. Rocio 0 for 3 on the day, but this would be a good spot for him to deliver his first hit of the game and bring in a couple of runs. and another one inside, so a 2-0 count. Nowhere to put him.
Yeah, and Conti missing a couple of times. Glove side to start this at bat. Looked like he was missing the same spot in his warm-up pitches. Important for him to come in and just throw strikes right here.
And that one's nowhere near being a strike, but on the opposite side of the plate. So missing 2 inside, and now that one way outside. And a 3-0 count to Rocio. And you've got the 2, 3, 4 hitters behind him for the Mountaineers. So Conti really wanting to throw a strike here. A 3-0 pitch is in there for a strike. Rocio ready to drive in a run and walk on over to first. Had thrown his bat, but he is brought back to the batter's box. Has a word with the umpire. So a big break for Conti there. Let's see if he can take advantage of it. Now the 3-1 count. And in a similar spot, this time Rocio swinging at it, fouling it off.
Yeah, and a good job by Conti to fight back. And just like this at-bat, this count is full. Important for him to note as a pitcher that this is an 8-1 game and get me over pitches right here. Anything in the strike zone, even if it end up in play, it's not the end of the world.
That one from Rocio fouled back. Put a good swing on it. We'll do the 3-2 count once again. Bases loaded for the Mountaineers. Big moment in this game if they want to get back in it. Conti with the 3-2, and Rocio fights that one off. Good at bat here by the leadoff hitter. Thought he had earned a walk. But back in there battling. Trying to get the Mountaineers on the board with some more runs. They only have 1 on the day. Conti's 3-2 pitch. Flailed at, but hit. Foul. So once again, staying alive, Rocio. Ever since that first strike call he thought was a ball, he's really trying to swing at everything.
Yeah, and that one looked like a changeup from Conti. Seeing a bunch of fastballs. So far in this at-bat, it looked like his breaking ball was the best pitch he's thrown because it establishes that release point out in front. But he'll spike ball forward here, and that'll drive in a run for Schreiner.
Yeah, it looked like a fastball in the dirt there. Rocio not swinging at that one after swinging at a couple outside the zone. And so driving in a run, inching the Mountaineers closer. 8-2 now is the Tigers' lead. And the man at the plate, Chance Goins, hit a home run in his first at-bat. Boy, would he like another one here. And that one's up and away. Pettit trying to calm his pitcher down here.
Yeah, and it looked like another changeup right there from Conti. Really needs to work to establish his release point. That seems like it has been the primary issue so far in this appearance. He'll pump a strike in right there. And if he can repeat that, then I'm sure he'll be happy. He'll live with the results, even if these hitters can put the ball in play.
Goins now awaits the 1-1 pitch from Conti. And he lines that one into right field. Rafe Chomet gathers it quickly. So just the 1 run scores, but the bases remain loaded as Goins drives the RBI single into right field. A good piece of hitting, taking that right where it came from. And you see Rafe getting to it quickly and gunning it into the infield to prevent that second run from scoring. But the Mountaineers now down just 8-3 and have their best hitter at the plate, Josh Gilliam. Gilliam 0 for 1 on the day, has drawn 2 walks, not someone who's typically held down for long. Luke, what do you think Conti needs to do here as the pitching coach talks to him?
Well, now that he's reestablished his release point and is existing and hitting spots in and around the zone, interesting.
And it actually looks like he won't get to implement any of the advice he's gotten, as the Tigers are making another pitching change as the game inches closer here. Mountaineers now with 2 runs across in the 7th inning. They're down 8-3, but have the bases loaded and have the heart of their lineup at the plate. We'll be right back after the Tigers bring in a new pitcher. Welcome back to San Antonio, where we have some stressful moments here for the Tigers. They hold an 8-3 lead, but the Mountaineers of Schreiner University have already put across 2 runs and have the bases loaded for their top hitter, Josh Gilliam. He has 41 hits on the year, second in the entire conference, hitting over 400. Just the man Schreiner wants at the plate with the bases loaded. And Tigers bring in a first-year pitcher, Ethan Clark, to try to get out of this jam. And that first pitch from Clark is down.
Yeah, when we see that one down, what Clark's going to need to do here, Brian, is establish himself in the strike zone immediately. Would have been really nice to get ahead right there, but is going to need to use more than just fastballs in the strike zone.
And that one is chopped behind Clark. Wisniewski gets that one. Gets Gilliam for the out at first, so a run does come across to score, but a big out on a tough play. A chopper behind the mound that Wisniewski's able to get quickly.
Yeah, that was a great play by Wisniewski, and he's a guy that, as we talked about earlier, plays around the infield. A little bit of an interesting approach from a coaching perspective to move him over to second base provides you with really outstanding defense when you can move a guy that primarily or typically has played shortstop, as we get another view of it as Wisniewski comes in, cuts that one off, takes it, rather than letting that ball get all the way to Baker.
And that 1-0 pitch from Clark gets behind Pettit and is stuck in the fence. So a dead ball, but the run does come across to score. And the Tigers lead now 8-5. You see here, Clark bounces that one, and he gets stuck in the fence back there. Cleanup hitter Reese Hohertz at the plate fouls that one back. Hohertz with 28 runs batted in on the year. He's had a tough night so far, but always a threat at the plate. 15th in the nation with those 28 runs batted in, and 4th in the SCAC. He sees that 2-1 pitch high for a ball, so now a great hitter's count for the cleanup hitter, who also is tied for the team lead with 4 home runs. So he'll be looking to drive one here, and the Mountaineers are down just 3, and they'll keep this inning alive and bring the tying run to the plate. And Hohertz mentioned he was tied for the team lead. Well, he's tied for the team lead in home runs with the batter who's coming up to the plate, Jeffrey Williams. He has 4 long balls on the year. And he represents the tying run at the plate. So 4 runs already across for the Mountaineers in the 7th. And Clark loses his hat and throws a ball to start the at-bat. Clark, the first-year pitcher, his last appearance against Austin College, 4 scoreless innings. Tasked a difficult assignment here, and that one is outside for a ball, so a 2-0 count to the number 5 hitter for the Mountaineers. Jeffrey Williams looking to drive in 1 or 2 more runs, or 3 with his power. And he has a great hitter's count here. And Clark falling off the mound there. And the pitch nowhere close, so now a 3-0 count for Williams. Already walked Hohertz. Now getting behind Williams. And that one is low and away. Clark walking 2 consecutive batters. And the Mountaineers have loaded the bases once again. And back to who started it all in this inning. Devin Hooper, single to center field to lead off this inning. Seemed like a harmless at-bat at the time. But it has slowly grown into a disaster for the Tigers. They're still up 3 and looking to get out of it, but really tense moments here.
Yeah, absolutely. But as we've mentioned multiple times in this game already, this is a spot in which you really, really, really enjoy having a catcher like Pettit behind the plate. Someone who is experienced at the Division III level, having come in last year from the University of Incarnate Word, but also caught 33 games as a freshman when he was a Cardinal. So someone who has a ton of experience with a ton of different pitchers. When you're a first-year pitcher on the mound in a tough situation, you really rely on a guy who has pretty much seen it all behind the plate.
But Clark now throwing his 9th consecutive ball and is able to get that one in there for a strike. And that one was close as well, but the umpire giving it to him, bringing the count to 1-1 for Hooper, who represents the go-ahead run at the plate. The tying run is at first base for the Mountaineers. And Hooper looks at that one well outside, Pettit going to get it. And now a 2-1 count for Hooper. Hooper with that 1 hit to start the inning, also 2 walks on the day, so he's seeing the ball well. And now with the 2-1 count, drives that one to left field, and that is down for a foul ball. So a good swing on that one, driving it deep to right field, but luckily for the Tigers, a foul ball.
Yeah, but good job by Clark. More consistent in this at-bat. Saw him even the count at 1-1. Able to even it back up at 2-2. Gives himself a little bit of breathing room. Can continue to attack the hitter in, but also around the zone right here.
And that 2-2 pitch is right there, and he is fired up as he gets a called third strike, striking out Dylan Hooper to end the inning. The Mountaineers leave the bases loaded, but they are right back in this game as they score 4 runs in the top of the 7th inning. But they had a chance for much more, but Ethan Clark getting out of that jam. It is time to stretch here in San Antonio. We have a good one as the top-ranked Tigers lead the Schreiner Mountaineers 8-5. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to Tiger Network for the bottom of the 7th. Some real action in that last half inning. The Mountaineers plating 4 runs to get right back in this game. And now Daniel Garza tasked with keeping the score right there. And he faces the cleanup hitter, Brian Schaub, who already has 4 runs batted in on the day, 1 double and a long home run earlier in the day, his 7th of the year.
Yeah, and you mentioned Garza will try and keep things where they are, but that'll be a difficult task when you have a guy at the plate who's hit the ball probably a total of somewhere around 800 feet on the night. So we'll look to keep the ball off of the bat of Schaub in this at-bat.
And Schaub takes a big swing at that 2-0 pitch, but unable to connect, so now a 2-1 count. Garza threw a scoreless inning in the 6th as he was called upon to replace starter Garrett Whitley. And he gets that one for a called strike, a nice pitch right there. And Garza came into an 8-1 game, but he did his job, kept the Tigers off the board, and rewarded at the moment with 4 runs to bring his team closer to the Tigers and now have every chance to win. That 2-2 pitch is in the dirt. Umpire checks at first, and he did not go around, so a full count for the cleanup hitter.
Yeah, really good job by Garza. After falling behind 2-0, blew a fastball by Schaub, forced him to look at a really good breaking ball. And although he threw a ball there, to be in this one, even though it's full, really good fight here from Garza. See if he can finish this at-bat off.
The 3-2 from Garza to Schaub is swung on and missed. Cardoza gets that one from the dirt and tags Schaub for the out. So a big out to start the inning for Garza to keep the cleanup hitter off base and in the yard.
Yeah, absolutely. Good job by Garza to come back in that one. Really important just to get even in that one, because at that point it forces Schaub to swing at pitches around the zone, and that breaking ball had him fooled.
Now catcher Tyler Pettit at the plate. Pettit bounces that one, but is recorded at first base for the out. Goins coming in to get that one. So 2 quick outs to start the bottom of the 7th. And Garza looks to get out of this inning and bring his hot bats back to the plate. We mentioned Schreiner that 8-18 record is deceiving. 8 of those losses have been by fewer than 3 runs, and 4 of them have been by just 1 run, including against undefeated in conference play Centenary College, who has been playing some great baseball. Centenary, though, is down 9-7 at Southwestern. They're in the top of the 8th inning there. So the 2 top teams in the conference, Trinity and Centenary, facing some tough matchups against Schreiner and Southwestern respectively, as Wisniewski grounds that 2 goings once again, and a 1-2-3 inning for Garza, just what he wanted. The Mountaineers back in this game and looking to add some more runs in the top of the 8th. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Trinity Baseball on the Tiger Network. We have a good one here in San Antonio as the top-ranked Trinity Tigers are up 8-5 over their conference rival, the Schreiner Mountaineers. Tigers got out to an 8-1 lead, looked to be pulling away in this one, but the Mountaineers plated 4 runs in the 7th and are right back in it. Ethan Clark, though, coming into a huge bases-loaded jam and able to get a strikeout looking to limit the damage and keep the Tigers on top. So now a clean slate for him with Isaiah Hernandez, who starts the inning with a base hit to left field. So the Mountaineers right back at it with a leadoff man on, and Clark will have to pitch out of the stretch right away.
Yeah, and that last half inning, Brian, we saw Clark finish it with that strikeout, and he was awfully pumped up coming off the mound, greeted by his teammates. But Schreiner did a great job in that last half inning. Garza specifically, weathering the storm, 3 up, 3 down for the Mountaineers, and he did a good job to make sure that his bats, his teammates got back up to the plate quickly, trying to carry some of that momentum that got weathered just a bit by Clark.
And now the catcher, Gerardo Cardoza, at the plate, but he'll have to wait a bit as Tyler Pettit, the catcher, out to talk to Ethan Clark. And also gets a visit from head coach Tim Scannell. Looks like he's telling him to breathe.
Perhaps Clark coming back out onto the mound at the top of the 8th, still a little bit tight. Coach Scannell just reminding him about the fact that the bases were clear to start this inning, right? Any trouble that he's getting into here is probably going to be caused by himself, but that's all avoidable right here. Pitching to contact will be important. Just pitching in the zone, making sure he's competitive with every pitch he throws right here, probably the focus of that conversation.
And in his last outing, Clark struck out 4 Kangaroos in 4 innings of work against Austin College, and before that struck out 6 against the University of St. Thomas, so he has good stuff. Just has to command it well here in the top of the 8th as the Mountaineers look to rally back. Cardoza at the plate, grounds out 1-0 to the shortstop Baker. He gets it to second and on to first for the double play. The Tigers turn the 6-4-3 double play right when they need it most, and that eliminates the leadoff hit. And Clark now with 2 outs in the 8th and nobody on.
Yeah, great job right there. We talked a little bit about the Tiger defense earlier in the game and how they tend to come through in the moments where they're needed most. Great job to weather the storm as the Mountaineers looked to continue build off the momentum of scoring 3-4 runs in that last half inning.
Now the number 9 hitter, Jet Muniz, hit by that pitch from Clark. And so just as Clark looked to get out of this inning unscathed, some new life for the Mountaineers and the top of their order once again. As that pitch looks like it hits the jersey of Muniz.
Hard to tell from that angle exactly, but lots of run inside on that fastball.
And Riccio swings at that first pitch in the at-bat, driving it way foul. But a good swing on that one, just very early. Riccio walked with the bases loaded in his last at-bat, driving in a run. And he chops that one to MJ Metz at third. He gets it on to Vonderhaar, who is stepped on and has some trouble getting up. He did record the third out of the inning, but comes up limping and throws the ball into the ground, frustrated with him possibly being hurt. We hope Vonderhaar is okay, and we'll find out soon, hopefully, as we see that ground ball chopped to Metz. He gets it over to Vonderhaar, and Riccio stepping on that left foot of Vonderhaar.
Hard to say right there. Typically, as a first baseman, you're not going to want to have your foot on the bag primarily to avoid what we saw right there. But also, the runner does have the right to the bag. Kind of a bang-bang play there. Hard to tell exactly what happened, if there was any intent either way.
Hopefully Jack Vonderhaar is okay, and the Tigers will be back up to bat in the bottom of the 8th inning. We'll take a quick break and be right back on the Tiger Network. We are here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Tigers looking to add some insurance runs as Mason Meredith steps to the plate. A new pitcher on the mound for the Mountaineers, Rain Euchre, the big right-hander from Bernie Champion High School. Bernie right between San Antonio and Kerrville. And his delivery to Meredith is outside. Interesting wind-up here from Euchre.
Yeah, absolutely. And Meredith, as a right-handed hitter, at even more of a disadvantage with this arm slot as Euchre drops down from the right side a little bit. But Meredith, a little lucky with that infield single that we saw in his last at-bat. He'll definitely look to build on top of that.
That one way outside from Euchre. A 3-1 count to start the inning. Euchre threw a scoreless 2/3 innings in his last time out against Hardin Simmons earlier in the week. But last weekend against Southwestern, gave up 4 runs, recording just 1 out. That one by Meredith popped up back towards the catcher, and he is unable to come up with it. A tough play. That ball was in the ballpark, stayed in play, but the catcher Cardoza unable to come up with it.
Yeah, and this has been a lot of what we've seen out of Meredith, a lot of sky-high pop-ups that haven't gotten very deep into the outfield.
Now the 3-2 to Meredith, and he swings at that one and drives it to center field. Recio back on it, and he is able to make the catch once again. Aaron Recio with the phenomenal catch out in center field. We saw one earlier off the bat of Michael Goodrich, and now Meredith driving it back towards that 400-foot sign, but Recio sliding and making the catch.
Yeah, and another unlucky at-bat for Meredith. Gets a hold of that one, sent it a long, long way. Not the first ball that we've seen hit deep to center field tonight, and not the first time that we've seen Recio make an absolutely incredible grab out there. As we see it again here, fading a little bit to his left, able to come up with that one, sliding on the warning track.
And now the first pitch to Jack Vonderhart out to left field. That ball is hauled in, but good to see Jack Vonderhart at the plate after he was stepped on at first base and he went down. Had a tough time getting up. We'll see this pop up right here for the second out of the inning, but just overall happy to see Vonderhart at the plate.
Yeah, and after Vonderhaar's reaction that last half inning, you knew he'd want to get up there and hit a ball really hard, and that's exactly what he tried to do on that one, but maybe a little bit overambitious.
And another first pitch swinging hitter with the Tigers as Goodrich fouls that one back. Goodrich 0 for 2 on the day, the only Tiger without a hit. He was robbed by Recio on a very similar play by the wall. Tigers with 11 hits, but Goodrich not providing one of them yet as he fouls that one back. Euchre trying to keep the Tigers right where they're at and give his offense a chance in the top of the 9th. He has the 0-2 count on Goodrich. And that slider gets Goodrich down swinging just from one side of the plate to the other, and Goodrich unable to make contact. So a 1-2-3 inning for Euchre. The Mountaineers coming to bat with the chance, just down 3. Tigers lead 8-5, and we'll be right back for the 9th. Ethan Clark back on the mound trying to close it out for the Tigers. He'll face the heart of the Mountaineers lineup, the 2-3-4 hitters, starting with Chance Goins, who's had quite the day for himself, starting the afternoon with a home run in the first. 2 for 4 on the day, and he'll look to get on to give the Mountaineers a chance at this one. He has a 1-1 count. And that one inside, nearly hitting Goins. Saw that last inning with Muniz getting hit on the jersey. Now the 2-1 count to Goins. And he drives that towards center field, but Meredith squares it up and got it for the first out of the inning. So a well-hit ball, but right to the center fielder, Meredith. And that'll bring up Josh Gilliam for the Mountaineers, their 3-hole hitter. Awfully quiet on the day, 0 for 2. Did drive in a run. He sees that first pitch in there for a strike. You see Gilliam from Smithson Valley High School hitting .414 on the year. Hitless today. And chops another one, this time to MJ Metz at third. And he gets it onto Vonderhaar for the out. So a couple close choppers here. Testing Vonderhaar at first with the close play, but able to get the out. And now the Tigers are 1 out away from the series opening win against the Mountaineers. In the way of that, cleanup hitter Reese Hohertz. And he sees that first pitch in there for a strike. Hohertz 0 for 3 on the day. Looking to keep the Mountaineers alive. But he swings over that one. Nicks it into the catcher's mitt. And he faces an 0-2 count as the Mountaineers are down to their final strike. And he fouls that one back to stay alive.
Yeah, a really great job by Clark this inning. He's worked fast, seems very confident, like he's really settled in this one. Looking to end it here with 0-2 count.
Clark's 0-2 pitch on the way and just outside.
Really good pitch, though, by Clark. I like that one there. Very competitive. A very close miss. And a guy in Hohertz that's seen a lot of pitches around the zone.
Pettit asking for it up, and Hohertz drives it into left field for his first base hit of the day, keeping the Mountaineers alive here in the top of the ninth. Nice job of 2-strike hitting by the cleanup hitter.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Pettit asking for that one up. Clark just not hitting his spot. A good pitch if he can hit the target that Pettit had set for him, but leaves this one over the heart of the plate, really. And for Hohertz, pretty easy swing and hit, driving that one to the opposite field.
That brings up outfielder Jeffrey Williams, who's 1 for 3 on the day. A power bat for the Mountaineers, who could turn one around here, has 4 home runs on the year. But Ethan Clark looks to retire him and clinch the victory for the Tigers. That one high and inside. Clark, the 4th pitcher on the mound tonight for the Tigers. Harrison DeRoe started the game through 4 1/3. As DeRoe throws that one away, trying to pick off the runner. Looks like we have a pinch runner there for Schreiner, and he's going to get all the way to third after the poor throw by Clark.
And hard to say exactly what happened there.
We'll get a look at the replay here.
As we cut back to that other angle, looks like Vonderhaar was not holding the runner on at first base with 2 outs in the 9th.
And that looks like Keller Driscoll came in to run. So an unforced error there for Clark, and taken out of the game with the 1-0 count and 2 outs. That'll bring in Matthew Thomas for the Tigers. He looks to close this one out. Just needs that 1 out, but the ever-important 27th out in the 9th inning. We'll be right back. We are back here in the top of the 9th inning. Tiger pitcher Matthew Thomas in to try to get the final out of the game. Ethan Clark pulled with a runner on third. 2 outs in the 9th. Jeffrey Williams at the plate. And that ball is outside. A 2-0 count. Thomas input in the middle of an at-bat. Looks to get out of this one, and Williams lines that one down the left field line. That is going to get down into the wall. He'll coast into second base with a stand-up double. And the Mountaineers are within 2 after the RBI double by Jeffrey Williams. Mountaineers not going down easily tonight. We're down 8-1 in the 7th inning and have pulled it all the way back to bring the tying run to the plate. Devin Hooper, 1 for 2 already on the day, does have 3 home runs on the year. And swings at that first pitch. Had a good cut at that, but fouls it back.
Yeah, and a good approach from Thomas right there. A little bit of a get me over breaking ball just to get ahead in the count.
Thomas now 0-1 count. Throws that one down and away, evening it up at 1-1. Thomas came in against Mary Hardin Baylor through 3 scoreless innings, struck out 5, and recorded the save, his 3rd on the year, looking to get another right here. Hooper fouls that one towards the Tigers' dugout. Once again, 1 strike away for the Tigers. Devin Hooper trying to keep the rally going for Schreiner. He awaits the 1-2 from Thomas, and that is just high. A 2-2 count. See this close pitch near the top of the zone. Pettit trying to frame it. But Hooper now with a 2-2 count. 2 outs and a runner on second base. Trying to bring the Mountaineers all the way back. And he stares at that one outside. Pettit sliding over to get it. And now a full count. Hooper with a good at-bat off of Thomas. Now the 3-2, and he swings and misses, and the Tigers escape with the victory. Tigers now with 11 consecutive victories. This one did not come easily as the Mountaineers battled back from all the way down 8-1 to close within 2 and have the tying run at the plate. But the Tigers pull off the series opening win against their SCAC rival, and Thomas with the save. Luke, what a ninth inning.
Yeah, absolutely. First thing you said right there was the Tigers survive, right? And that's a little bit what it felt like. Not the prettiest of victories for Trinity tonight, but nonetheless, it is in the win column. I think for the Tigers, this is going to be a really good opportunity. There's things from this game that they'll move on and they'll talk about for the rest of this weekend and moving forward for the rest of the season. I think the biggest of those things being the fact that the bullpen needs to be better. They need to be more comfortable, especially when they're inserted in uncomfortable situations. When you have runners on base, you need to come in and you need to throw strikes, and that's not something that we saw the staff do today. I think they got lucky given the fact that they were up 8-1 when those situations started to present themselves. Typically, that's not going to be the case, right? You're going to be playing 1-run games, 2-run games, 3-run games. And when you can't bring a guy in out of the bullpen and have him pitch and throw strikes immediately, you're going to get hurt like we saw in this one. But ultimately, got to be satisfied with a win, satisfied with the way the bats swung it today, and hope that tomorrow the staff will be better.
Yeah, tomorrow should be a good one. 2 games on the schedule, 1 and 4 p.m. between these two teams, and you really got to credit Schreiner. We mentioned their 8-18 record coming into today, but this now their 9th loss that's come fewer than 3 runs. So they're in these games, they're close, and they're a pesky team that'll give the Tigers some problems tomorrow. Brian Schaub with the home run in this game, 4 runs batted in, leading the Tigers to a victory. Thomas able to save it at the end. We hope you've enjoyed this one as much as we have, and we also hope to have you back tomorrow for 2 games between Schreiner and Trinity. For Luke Terry, I'm Brian Yanselson. Have a great night.